For my final presentation for fashion history and global attire, I chose to study the various islands of Polynesia. I thought Polynesia would be a really interesting place to study, primarily because with the rise of Western culture, it seems as if Polynesia might have lost some of their heritage. However, through my research, I've learned that they're actually quite strong and they're very proud of their old and ancient heritage. I will be beginning with geography. Polynesia is a group of thousands of small islands located in Oceania. Some of the islands include Samoa, the Cook Islands, Tahiti, Fiji, Tonga, Rapa Nui, which is the indigenous term for Easter Island, small islands off of New Zealand, as well as Hawaii. There is actually something called the Polynesian Triangle, which makes the geographic location of Polynesia really easy to identify. For example, New Zealand is the westernmost point of Polynesia, Easter Island is the easternmost point, and Hawaii is the northernmost point. Known primarily for their beautiful white sand beaches and crystal clear blue water, Polynesia is a very large and thriving tourist destination. However, many Americans have never actually been to Polynesia. The closest they have come to being in Polynesia is visiting Hawaii. Hawaii is made up of the islands of Hawaii, Maui, Molokai, Oahu, Kauai, and Niihau. Images like this, which depicts the Molokini crater, which sits off of Maui, and images like this of the black sand beach off the road to Hana on Maui are some of the only things most Americans have ever seen of Polynesia. Aside from that, a lot of Americans have also seen the movie South Pacific. South Pacific premiered in 1958 as a screen movie, but it was a stage musical before that. It depicted American Navy members living on various Polynesian islands during World War II. Aside from that, many Americans have also watched Survivor. Survivor is a reality show that films a majority of their seasons on different islands in Polynesia, most notably the Cook Islands, Samoa, Fiji, and the South Pacific in general. First, I will be talking about the general culture of Polynesia, starting with food. Some of the traditional foods found on Polynesia are poi, poke, and kalua pig. However, I will also be talking about Polynesian sauce. So, poi is a porridge which is made from fermented taro root, which is then baked and pounded into a thick paste. While poi actually has no enjoyable taste or flavor to it, it is still included at many luau's and family gatherings due to its traditional roots. Poke is very similar to sushi. However, this originated in Polynesia rather than Japan. Poke is a bowl filled with rice, raw fish, fresh veggies, and fresh fruit. It has recently also become a very trendy food in the US, and you can find it easily anywhere in Manhattan. Kalua pig is also a very traditional pork dish found in Polynesia. The way kalua pig is baked is that it is wrapped in tea leaves, which are the green leaves you see there, and then roasted in the ground. These are very common at luau's as well. Last but not least is Polynesian sauce. So I really wanted to find out what Polynesian sauce was and if it actually had anything to do with Polynesia. What I found out was that Polynesian sauce is not from Polynesia, however, it's made from a variety of spices who all originate in Polynesia, and it was actually Chick-fil-A that popularized the sauce. Next, I will be talking about tattoos. Tattoos were given primarily to Polynesian warriors in a sacred religious ceremony in which the participant or the receiver of the tattoo must cleanse themselves prior to getting the tattoo. Cleansing themselves included abstaining from sex, bathing, and eating specific foods. Now, the tattoos that they were given and just the general receiving of the tattoo reflected a person's position within society and their personal achievements as well as their genealogy. It was also noted that warriors who had a larger amount of tattoos were considered more attractive to women. Next, I will be talking about music, so I hope you enjoy this clip. So I actually really enjoyed this video because not only does it prove that a lot of Polynesian music was heavily based on fast percussion sounds and as well as loud vocal noises, but it also depicts the style of dance, which is really popular in Polynesia. The dance was really centered on hip movements, which is well demonstrated in the video. But as I said, Polynesian music is very heavy on percussion. However, some of the slower and calmer music of Polynesia is very heavy on the ukulele, which is something that most Americans are aware of. Next, I will be talking about mahu. A mahu is the Hawaiian term for people who embody both male and female spirit, which is similar to what Western culture would call a transgender person. While researching for this project, I watched a documentary called Kumuhina. The documentary was about a woman named Kumuhina who embodied male spirit, so she dressed androgynously yet used female pronouns. The documentary explained that prior to European colonization, the Mahu was a well-respected religious figure. However, after European colonization, and the widespread popularization of Catholicism, the Mahu was condemned and recently became a social outcast. I highly recommend that most people watch this documentary because not only does it give great detail into the struggle of the daily life of the Mahu, but it also really showed what is important to traditional Polynesians and traditional Hawaiians. Next, I will be talking about dress and fashion. I will be starting with the most basic textile of the Polynesian culture. The most basic textile was the paper mulberry tree, which is depicted here. The paper mulberry tree was used to make basic and very common woven textiles. The paper mulberry tree was also used to make a tapa cloth, which is a dyed rug, which could be used as a dyed rug or a decorative tapestry. These two images depict what a traditional men's outfit looks like versus a traditional women's outfit. I will be starting with talking about men's clothing. The most popular clothing for men was the loincloth, which in Polynesian was actually called the malo. Due to tropical weather and humidity, people in Polynesia didn't need lots of layers of clothes, which actually made the loincloth quite appropriate. The loincloth was actually most commonly dyed red. Next, I'll be talking about women. The most common article of clothing for women to wear was the pau, which is a skirt. The pau was very often dyed a variety of colors and was printed with various prints that depicted stories and tradition on them. While there obviously was traditional men's and women's clothing, there was also a variety of unisex clothing that Mahu often wore. First is the Kihei. The Kihei is not only a town in Maui, but it's also a one-shoulder cloak. The cloak was often decorated with various forms of leaves and feathers. While the cloak is unisex, it wasn't for the common person. The kihei was mostly for royals or people of social status. Next is the tea leaf cape, which is quite depictive. It is just a cape made of tea leaves. These leaves were actually perfect to wear during the rain because rather than dried leaves, the tea leaves did not absorb water during humid and tropical climates. These leaves actually allowed water to run down them and kept the wearer quite dry. This cape was much more common and therefore was worn by the common person. Last but not least is the lei, which most commonly is known as the flower necklace. However, it was also shown as a flower crown, headdresses, ankle bracelets, and just regular bracelets. Leis were most commonly made from the plumeria flower, and of course, leis are what most people consider to be Hawaiian today. However, they are not just Hawaiian, they are prevalent in all Polynesian culture. I hope you enjoyed my presentation on Polynesia. I really enjoyed learning about it, and I hope you enjoyed learning about it as much as I did.